Hi, welcome back to my YouTube channel Daysi DIY. Today I'm sharing with you guys an easy home decor. I hope you enjoy. If you do, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. Thank you so much. For the first project, we're going to try to recreate this beautiful home wall tag that I found on Pinterest. So the first thing, I'm going to be using this wood tag that I found on Dollar Tree, and here's the item number just in case if you guys need it. So the first thing, I'm going to remove the image from the top and also this piece of wood that it has right here. If you guys want, you guys can use the back for this project, but I decided to remove the image and the piece of wood so it can has a finished look, and this is how it looks once you remove the image. And to paint it, I'm using the Restaurant Chalkboard paint on color white that I got from Amazon. So you guys can see, I'm just using a little bit of paint first to cover the sign. I'm not covering it all the way because I want the wood to show a little bit. So I just did one coat and I just let it dry. So the next thing, I'm going to create lines. So my wood sign, it measured 23 inches. So every 4 inches, I just mark the lines. So once I was done, I connect all the lines, and with my pencil I just trace the lines twice so we can have these dark lines that we're looking for. So once I was done, I just used my finger to distress all the lines. The next thing, I'm going to be using this free printable that I found on Google. I just searched for a wreath and I found this beautiful wreath. Or if you guys don't want to print one, you guys can create with a greenery a beautiful wreath. It's really easy to create it, and you guys can use a little bit of hot glue to glue it. So once I just cut the wreath, this is how it looks. So the next thing, I'm going to be using this matte Podge, and I'm just going to do one coat and I'm just going to place my image. So you guys can see, I'm just using this small brush that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just going to place it. And once I was done placing my image, I decided to do another coat of matte Podge on the top. I'm going to use these stencils that I got from Dollar General. They're really beautiful, and I'm going to be using the word bliss. So to hold the stencil, I'm just using a small piece of painter's tape, and to paint it, I'm going to be using this sponge tabbers that I got from Dollar Tree. And also I'm using the Crafty Chalkboard paint on color ink, and I'm just going to use a little bit of paint to paint it. I just did one coat and I just let it dry. And now we're just going to remove this stencil. So you guys can see it looks really beautiful, but I decided to use this sandpaper to distress it a little bit. And to hang our wall decor, I'm just going to use a piece of jute twine that I had on hand. You guys can put the same piece of jute twine that it came with the sign, but I decided to use this one. I just tie it very well on the top. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project? I think it turned out really beautiful, but please let me know what do you guys think. Today is a sweet summer dupe hub, and it's really simple. Link it down below in my description box is the link to the next channel and the next hub. You will continue to hop around from one channel to the next one until you circle all the way back around, so you can be able to see all the kinds of new crafters that they're participating today. I hope you enjoyed the hub. Thank you so much, Megan, for hosting this amazing collab. For the next project, I'm going to try to recreate this beautiful wall decor that I found on Pinterest. So the first thing, I'm going to be using this wall sign that I had on hand. I had it for a really long time. So the first thing, I'm going to be using the Restaurant Chalkboard paint to paint it. Also, I'm going to remove the screws that they have here on the top. So once I was done, I decided to use this sandpaper to sand the top so it can be a little bit smooth, the part where the screw was. And to paint it, I'm just using this brush that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to do only only one coat and I'm just gonna let it dry. I just want to mention, if you guys don't have this wall sign, I know you guys can find something similar to this on Dollar Tree and you guys can recreate this project. So once it was completely dry, I decided to do a second coat because it didn't cover very well the color brown. And once it's completely dry, I'm gonna be using this piece of sandpaper that I got from Dollar Tree so we can start sanding all the signs so we can give this distressed look that we're looking for. I'm going to use this free printable that I found on Google. It's really beautiful. So what I did, I just cut it in half, and with my pencil, I just traced the back so we can trace a letter so we can put them in our sign. So I just placed that piece of paper on the top of the sign, and with a pen, I just gonna start tracing the words. And once I was done tracing all the words, I'm gonna remove that piece of paper so you guys can see a little bit the words. So the next thing, I'm gonna be using the Crafty Quinn chalkboard paint on color ink to paint it. I'm just using this small brush to paint all the letters. It did take me a little bit of time, but in the end it turned out really beautiful. I love it how it turns out. So once it was completely dry, I'm going to be using this sandpaper to sand it a little bit the letters so we can distress it so it can blend everything together. Also, I decided to use a few pieces of the greenery and I just tied the two pieces together and I'm just gonna place it right here in the bottom. And to glue it, I'm just gonna be using a little bit of hot glue to glue it. Also, I decided to create a small bow to put it in the middle. It was missing something. If you guys want, you guys can just put the greenery, but I decided to put just a small bow and I'm just gonna be using a little bit of hot glue to glue it. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. It turned out really beautiful. I love it how it looks, but please let me know what you guys think. For the next project, I'm going to try to recreate this beautiful farm's market sign that I found on Pinterest. It's really beautiful. The first thing, I'm going to be using this wood sign that I got from Dollar Tree and I'm just going to remove the image from the top and also the hanger. So this is how it looks once you remove the image. So if you guys don't want to remove the image, you guys can just use the back of the sign. So to paint it, I'm using the Restore Chalkboard paint on color white and I'm going to do one coat and I'm just going to let it dry so you guys can see I'm just using a little bit of paint to distress it. Also, I decided to paint the edges of the sign so it can has a finished look. So once I was done, I'm going to be creating lines and I'm just going to guide from these lines that it has the sign and I'm just going to mark it a few times so they can be a little bit dark, the lines. And with my finger, I'm going to distress the lines. I'm going to use this free printable that I found on Pinterest. I really love it. So I'm just gonna cut a few pieces of the white paper so we can just place that image. Also, I'm gonna be using this Mod Podge to put our image and I just did one coat. The other thing that I decided to do, I did another coat on Mod Podge on the top so we can seal the image. If you guys want, you guys can use a piece of foam board and cut it at the side of the image. And to stand up the image, you guys can use a few pieces of the Jenga blocks, but I decided to put them in a piece of wood because I want to hang it on my wall. So once it's completely dry, I'm going to be using that Crafty Quinn chalkboard paint on color ink and I'm just going to be distressing the edges of the sign and I'm just using this small brush that I got from Dollar Tree. Also, I decided to create this small lines inside of the sign so it can has this distressed look that we're looking for. So to hang our sign, you guys can use the same piece of jute twine, but I decided to use this plant hanger that I got from Dollar Tree, and I'm just gonna cut a small piece to put it, and I'm just gonna be placing it. And once I was done, to tie it very well on the back, I'm gonna be using my pliers. I'm going to use these Boxwood picks that I got from Walmart, and I just grab a few pieces and I just tie it very well with a zip tie, and with the remaining piece I just use my scissors to cut it. So you guys can put it on the top or in the bottom. I decided to put it right here in the bottom, and I just use a little bit of hot glue to glue it. Also, I decided to create a small bow to put it, and I just used the lace ribbon and the burlap ribbon that I got from Dollar Tree, and I just grab a small piece of jute twine to tie everything together, and to glue it I'm just going to be using a little bit of hot glue. Also, I decided to create this small bow in the middle, and I just used a little bit of hot glue to glue it. And the end, I removed the bow because I didn't like it, but I look right now in the video and it looks really beautiful. What do you guys think? I should put it back the bow. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about this project? For the next project, I'm going to be recreating this beautiful cutting board that I found on Pinterest. The first thing, I'm going to be using one cutting board that I got from Dollar Tree, and also I'm going to be using this free printable that I found on Pinterest. So I just trace it with a cutting board, and once I was done tracing it, I'm just going to be using my scissors to cut it. So you guys can see the cutting board that I'm using, I had it on hand. I had the video so you guys can see step by step what I did. So the next thing, I'm gonna be using this Mod Podge, and I'm just gonna do one coat, and I'm just gonna place my image on the top. The other thing that I decided to do, I just did another coat on Mod Podge on the top so we can seal our image. So once it was completely dry, I'm going to be using this craft white chalkboard paint on color ink to paint the handle, and I'm just using this small brush, and I'm just going to do one coat, and I'm just going to let it dry. Also, I decided to paint the edges of the cutting board so we can have this finished look that we're looking for, and I'm just going to distress it a little bit just on the edges. So the next thing, I'm using this ribbon, and I'm just going to create a small bow to put it right here in the top, and I'm just going to be using a little bit of hot glue to glue it. So in the handle, I just use a little bit of jute twine to cover it all around, and I just use a little bit of hot glue to glue it. Also, I decided to distress it a little bit, and I just used my sandpaper to remove a little bit of the paint. And once I was done, I just used a little bit of Mod Podge to seal the paint. The next thing, I decided to distress it a little bit, and for that, I'm using the Waverly chalk paint on color anti-wax, and I just distress it at the way that I want it, and I'm just using a small piece of this bud sponge to distress it. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. I just want to mention too, if you guys want, you guys can use a small wood crate on the back and use a little bit of hot glue to glue it so it can stand up the cutting board. Or if you guys want, you guys can use a few pieces of the Jenga blocks. For the the next project, I'm gonna try to recreate this beautiful wood jar that I found on Pinterest. I think it's really beautiful and I just want to recreate it. The first thing, we're gonna be using this wood jar that I found on Dollar Tree. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna remove the image and this is how it looks. So if you guys don't want to remove the image, I know sometimes it's really hard to remove it. You guys can just use the back and you guys gonna be good to go. So the next thing, I'm gonna be using that Restore Chalkboard paint on color white to paint it. Also, I decided to remove the piece of straw that it had on the top of the sign. I didn't like it. You guys can see I'm just using a little bit of paint to paint it because I want the wood to show a little bit through. So I just did one coat and I just let it dry. Also, I just paint the edges of the sign so it can has a finished look. So once it's completely dry, I'm gonna create lines, and for that I'm just using my ruler and my pencil. So I just trace the lines twice so we can have these dark lines. I just create 3 lines in total, and once I was done creating the lines, I'm gonna use my finger to distress the lines. I'm going to use this free printable that I found on Pinterest. It's really beautiful. So I just place it on the top of the sign and it was really big, my image. So what I decided to do, I just cut the image and it fit perfect in my sign. So I'm going to be using this Mod Podge to do one coat and I'm just going to place my image. Also, I decided to do another cut on Mod Podge so we can seal the image. The next thing, I'm going to be using the Craft White Chalkboard paint on color ink and I'm just going to use a little bit of paint to distress the edges. I decided to distress a little bit the image, and for that I'm using the Restore Chalkboard paint on color white and I'm just using a little bit of paint to distress it. And to hang our wall decor, we can use the same piece of jute twine, but I decided to use this plant hanger that I got from Dollar Tree and I just cut a small piece to put it. Once I was done, I just used my pliers to tie everything very well on the back. If you guys want, you guys can be done with your project, but I decided to put a few pieces of the greenery. So I'm going to be using these Boxwood picks that I got from Walmart. And I just cut a few picks and I just place it together. And to hold it, I'm just using a small piece of zip tie to tie it very well. And once I was done, I just used my scissors to cut it. So if you guys want, you guys can put it right here in the top or in the bottom. And to glue it, I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. It turned out really beautiful. If you guys want, you guys can be done with your project here, but I decided to do one more thing. I decided to use this ribbon that I got from Walmart and I just cut a small piece to put it right here on the top and the bottom. And to glue it, I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue. And this is how it looks our project once we're done. Let me know in the comments down below, what do you guys think about our last project? I think it turned out really beautiful, but please let me know what do you guys think. And please don't forget to see all the channels from these talent friends that they're participating today. And thank you so much, Megan, for hosting this beautiful sweet summer dupe. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, you guys. So that was the for today's video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon to be notified every time that I upload a new video. And please don't forget to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Thank you so much and have an amazing day.